Welcome to your weekly trading Tuesdays. Play the music. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but Ty and I are in the same place today. Our lovely assistant Matt. Say hi, Matt.
What up, guys?
Is also out of the blockchain center right now, and we are killing the game in Miami, where everyone else should be, because for one, we have 0% taxes. For two, we have beautiful beaches. And for three, because Bitcoin is popping in this state and city, even though it might not be in the charts. So,
yeah, it's kind of not looking like that right now. Do we want to go straight into the charts now?
I think that, yeah, let's just do a little quick market overview. So first of all, today, September 8th, current market cap is $324 billion of all cryptocurrencies. Market cap of Bitcoin is, what is it? $186 billion. And we're down. Bitcoin hit like 9,999. I saw on Coinbase for a little bit. We're up above 10. And yeah, let's read the charts. I'm sure that people want to know what the long-term outlook is. So,
all right, well, let's get into it. So it's not doing too hot. I do want to highlight a new trend that I actually discovered just today. Actually, I discovered this a while ago. But it's a different type of trend now that we've seen some new movement. So what is happening is this long forming trend is giving us kind of like and I've seen other people use before, like where they use this as like the middle ground for what's going to happen. So you'll have like your bullish above the line, obviously you're bearish below. So you saw back in 2019 of December, it dropped below this trend line. And then of course in 2019 with the big pump, you had the bullish case scenario where you pumped above the trend line, and that was kind of our beginning to our 2019 run. Then, of course, we had like the whole Black Thursday thing. I think it was March 9th, around there, where we dumped like over 50%. It was bad. People were scared. And but after that, we recovered really well back above the line. So you see that there's it's kind of like it's like teetering on this line here. And that's really important because that's where we're at right now. So we're at a crucial level. And if we go to the daily, we can see it a little bit better. This trend line is our black line here. This red line here is technically right now, it's just our support. But for a while in this range, it was performing as our resistance until, of course, we broke that on the 27th of July. And so the bottom or the support for that range is around 8.6K. But right now, we're teetering on the edge of 9.9, somewhere around there. And what you don't like to see
are those huge wicks in the bottom.
Yes, and it was good. Yeah, it was doing some weird like waking up and down like just an hour or two ago. I think it's this candle right here. This is doing some really weird stuff. So what I think is happening is it's getting so weak and it's triggering these orders just below 10K that I've been filling there for some time. And what's going to happen, I think, is these orders are going to keep getting triggered, and then once they run out of orders or liquidity in these, like just below 10K at 9.9, I think we're going to see a full collapse, if you will, down to 9.6 at least. And the reason I say 9.6K is because we'd have to move on to the CME futures, but the CME futures shows a gap at 9.6K to be completely filled. It's about like 9,660. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about CME futures for a little bit. So, a little bit of, I guess, historical background. CME futures were created in 2017, and it's actually the day that futures opened was the day that the bear market started happening. That was, I think we hit $19,666 on Coinbase. And then the futures market opened, and all of a sudden we had this great bear market. Now, what I think people need to understand about futures, it is a traditional finance scheme, okay? And usually it is used to trade commodities. But what's interesting about the futures market, and it was created for things like oil, for things like crops, when you needed to bet on the future price of, let's say, your crops, and you weren't sure what, like, for example, in aviation, it's like with oil, you want to have a price for it that you are paying on oil years into the future, regardless of what the markets are doing, because you can't factor in huge swings of cost into your business model as an airline, right? So that's okay, and that's understandable. But when futures opened on Bitcoin, it was really frustrating because if in order to open a futures contract, you don't actually need to own any Bitcoin. So these people are betting on the price, and they don't have skin in the game, and they don't care at all about Bitcoin and its value add. And if you even go to the cmegroup.com, it says hedge Bitcoin exposure or harness its performance with futures and options on futures developed by the leading and largest derivatives marketplace. These people are not actually exposed to Bitcoin. They don't care. And so you're seeing the CME gap always having to be filled, which Ty, you actually do a good job at explaining this. So if you want to explain what it means to fill the CME gap, pull up the other screen, Matt.
So what's happening is, and I can't tell you exactly why it happens. Some people can explain it. Maybe there's not like a proper explanation for it, but it happens. I talk about this, quite a bit in some Telegram groups. Maybe I talk about it a little bit on Twitter. But what happens is anytime you have like what we have here, so there's no data here. And the reason is because the day for this candle here was July 24th, and the day for this one was the 26th. So whatever happened in between, there's like no trading on that day. There's no futures on that day. So you have this gap between, it looks like 9,665 to around 9,915. And so what that means is that there was no price data here, and it technically never got to play out in the CME futures. So for whatever reason, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it almost always fills. The gap almost always fills. So a lot of people talk about the CME gaps because they always work so well. I've yet to see like a CME gap not fill, either to the upside or to the downside. Also, it is, I thought I saw a gap on the downside or the upside, but I think I'm missing it right now. There's a gap here, and there's a gap here, and of course here. So I mean, those gaps have already been filled though, because we've already went through the price action to get there. But you can see our lowest wick here is around 9,845. We still haven't filled this whole gap at 9,665. So I think we have to come down to fill that gap. Once we do, doesn't really matter what happens after that. I think we can go back up. And the other thing I want to note is how weak this is. This is a really bad breakdown. This is not what you like to see. But if there are any futures involved, if there's any like tampering involved, I say tampering, but you can only do so much with Bitcoin. But if there's anything involved that would push the price down to the CME gap of 9.665, then that could be the reason that we're coming down so far. There's also another reason, and we're going to talk about that. That's the U.S. dollar index.
Yeah, and I feel like with futures, what you see that people can win in either market. If they're playing on like Binance or Coinbase, or if they're playing in the futures market, they can make it. So if they bet wrong in one way, I mean, it's exactly like the website says. They're hedging their Bitcoin exposure by manipulating the price. And this is why we do not like traditional finance.
We don't.
Much. Sorry.
We don't.
Yeah. Don't worry. Any swap is coming for you.
Yes. So we're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about that. Yeah. So do you want to talk about the, okay. Let's show the dollar, and then let's talk about some interesting news that's kind of makes it why we are always long-term bullish for our dear Bitcoin.
Okay, so let's look at the US dollar. Everybody knows the election's coming around the corner. Some people are bullish on the outcome of Bitcoin macro-wise, regardless of what happens with the election. Some people aren't. Some people think that we're just going to see the markets dump entirely, and a lot of people are going to go into cash positions. And what that usually means is that if you see the US dollar index rise, then that is a direct correlation to like what's happening in gold and Bitcoin, and they're both down. So are the stock markets. So everybody is exiting all of these positions to go into cash for uncertainty reasons, probably because they want to get a better position on either gold or Bitcoin for the long term, and they believe that they can do that because of the upcoming election, whatever. But what we do see, especially on the weekly, is we see a proper RSI bounce, and we also see the same thing reflected in the price. And it's also filling a trend here, actually, I think. Somewhat of a trend, yeah. You can see back here, kind of fits it, even back here, and it probably could keep going. So it is somewhat of a trend. So it's a bounce there, in my opinion, and of course the RSI. So I think we're going to see cash positions increase, which means Bitcoin and gold and everything else goes down for now.
For now. I mean, I think you're seeing right before the elections, everybody moving into cash positions because they feel the most comfortable in that. It makes them liquid. So in uncertain times, people feel like, I think they think that cash is safe, but keep an eye out when that second stimulus check comes through. If it does, let's keep our eye out on legislation. We'll definitely tell you if anything big changes on our end. But if the second stimulus check does go through to the people, I would expect that markets all over will pump because liquidity is what makes markets pump. So if anyone has any insider information on if that's going to happen or not, please let us know. So, okay, now long-term bullishness of Bitcoin. Everybody always is like, what are the fundamentals? Okay. First of all, sound money. Limited supply. There's only ever going to be 21 million in existence. You can't print more, and that is why gold also has been doing well in uncertain times like this. Also, it's much more liquid to get in and out of than gold, but in terms of the strength of the network, Bitcoin, its hash rate hits a new all-time high. So that's really nice. An all-time high, and I mean, miners don't care. Yeah,
no, they don't care.
They don't care about price.
No.
So the security of the network is still there, and it's getting stronger, and that's what matters.
And I've had this theory for a while now, and I think it does connect or correlate. My theory is that the Bitfinex tether printer works well with some of the mining operations, so that they can prop up their positions or prop up their profits. And then, occasionally they'll have to dump on the market. And they have actually. There was something that came out like a couple days ago or last week where there's a lot of miners moving their Bitcoin off of their operations wallets and into, I think it was exchanges or just moving it in general, which could indicate, they're trying to sell it, which they probably already did. Yeah. So yeah, but Bitcoin hash rate's great. Can't get any better than that. They're going to keep going. There's nothing that's going to stop them unless we, of course, dip below $6,000, which I don't think we will.
Yeah. And so for simple terms, hash rate is essentially how much computer power is being contributed to support the security of the network. And it's at an all-time high. So fundamentals are growing. Okay. Next. Altcoins. So we're some shitcoins. So the big, obviously DeFi is a huge craze that's happening right now. Decentralized finance, cutting out middlemen all the way down to your cryptocurrency exchanges. Now, the big hot thing that everybody kept talking about is all of these different food cryptos, sushi being one of them.
Yeah.
Sushi and kimchi. Shout out to Eric. Anyways, so let's look over sushi.
Okay. I don't want to offend anybody on this. Okay, but the story is, so for those that don't know about the story about sushi, essentially what happened was, I think his name's @Naomi Chef on Twitter. He was the, quote, sushi chef or the creator of sushi. And so this guy had access to the dev share of the sushi tokens. And so what he decides to do is, initially he says he was never going to take part in the dev share. He was never going to sell. He wasn't a bad guy. That's what he said. But turns out not such a good guy after all. And he does sell off the dev share for, I think, 15 million, maybe more. And so everybody sees that he does it. He even says like, oh, I've worked so hard and then I deserve to be able to do this. But he said he was never going to do that in the first place. Anyways, sells off the dev share. I don't remember what price he sold it off at. It might have been actually at the top.
I believe he sold at the top.
Yeah, he probably made the top. Yeah, that would make the most sense to me, which is usually considered an exit scam. But now the keys are being given over to FTX or Sam, or that's what's supposed to be happening. Sam Alameda, the CEO of FTX. If that happens, there's a possibility Sushi does recover, and I think people were betting on that around this point. But it looks like that pump is going to be short-lived because we have we just have a pattern or like some price action that would indicate a further movement down. And I think that movement could look like 37% down because it would be touching our trend line support here, which is, what is this? $1.53. And this is, of course, what is this down from? This is down 78%.
Wow.
Sweet. So if you were a sushi investor,
hope you're not.
Hope you're not anymore.
Just hope you're not. I mean, the other thing too is that like this is just a liquidity pool that's named after food. It was forked, which we're going to talk about the fork. But there was some fun around it because they said that, sushi was bad because the dev was selling, but then it got listed on Binance.
Oh, that's the interesting thing.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
So the banned CTO is being accused, and probably for good reason. I think because there's enough evidence by now that the banned CTO is the sushi chef. The sushi chef was technically anonymous, but there's a lot of things that tie the sushi chef to the banned CTO. And it just so happens that the banned liquidity pool was a big deal, and it was in the sushi ecosystem, like added immediately. There's connections, I think, with Band and Binance, and sushi, of course, was listed on Binance immediately. So there seems to be some type of like connection there. And of course, CZ, he talked about it a little bit, and it may not be the responsibility, we don't know. But I would just say that we should all be very careful when we're considering a lot of these new DeFi projects, especially the liquidity pools, because we're seeing a lot more scams. So just be very vigilant and know that, you might be looking at something that could be a scam.
There are Bitcoin, altcoins, and then shitcoins.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you guys saw the show I did with Jeremy not too long ago. We covered like hot dog and like potato. I don't even know. But sushi forked into, of course, kimchi, because you can't have sushi without kimchi.
Right.
And this is also the interesting part about decentralized money, is that people now have the ability to fork tokens, create their own copy of it, and use marketing as a tool. So this is an interesting chart.
Yes, it is.
For losing money.
Let's say that you had to have bought anywhere up here, right? So it must have been like some kind of private sale. It had to have been a private sale before, of course, being open on Uniswap. So if you were down here, anywhere down here, you're good. If you bought anywhere after the private sale on Uniswap, you're screwed. But honestly, even if you were part of the private sale and you haven't sold by now, you don't have much. So
your gas fees exceed the cost.
It looks like the rug's been pulled on this one as well, which is very unfortunate. In fact, let's just do this real quick. What are we down? We down 100% yet?
Oh my god,
we're pretty close.
99.51%.
Hey, at least you got that 0.5%, baby. Private sales.
Private sales. Be very careful what you guys throw some ETH into. But it seems like we might not only use ETH as the tool for instant liquidity.
No, there might be something else coming.
Yes.
So that'd be nice. So the next one we're going to look at is, of course, YFI.
Yeah.
Because everybody's...
YFI, the original DeFi platform.
Mm-hmm. So YFI is not looking terrible. The RSI is trending upwards with our price. That's okay. The only thing is, anytime you have like a Bitcoin move, you're very skeptical about what could happen next. YFI could turn out to be its own ecosystem, entirely dependent from Bitcoin. that could happen. You just don't know yet. But with what we're seeing with Bitcoin, and we think that the macro economy, or at least temporarily, Bitcoin's going to be dumping because of cash positions, because of all these different factors. I would say, if you aren't already down, which most people are going to be, I would say consider selling at this point before seeing a further dump. I just think there's room to dump, and I think that the next support, the most reasonable support, is probably going to be around 1,600. That's what it looks like. So from here, that would be about a 26% drop. So if you're already in profit with a YFI and you want to consider, getting back into a better position, you just don't know what's going to happen with YFI. It could build its own ecosystem. Maybe it won't. Sell a little bit and then get back in at a lower bid here, anywhere in between here, really. And you'll obviously be making a good trade. So just be careful. There's really no support here either, at least not in its history. I mean, there's support here at 19.2, but really anything over here, like up in this area, there's not really anything that currently exists except for our price steady here. So I would expect a dump to at least 9.2 or 19.2 or 16,000. So definitely hedge or sell your position and get back in, or at least some of it, like 25%, 10%, 15%, whatever.
Can you put this on the daily? I just want to see.
Yeah. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, that's definitely the next support level.
Yeah, there's really nothing in between here that could hold it up. So I don't see how it's going to hold here. In fact, this is almost forming. It's losing volume. It's forming what could be like a break of a trend line here. It doesn't look bullish to me at all. This looks like more like a bull trap. Anytime you have like upward movement, but you have it on the end, or it could be a bull flag really, at the end of a long bearish downfall, then that's when you should see like a bull flag. It just gets people's hopes up, but then ultimately crashes. So I would say set up positions anywhere around like 19.2 to 16,000. I'd feel comfortable with that. You could probably get some decent bids placed.
Or just go back into Bitcoin or a stable coin if you feel comfortable.
Or that too, yeah.
I mean, I really think that it's a smart idea to stay out of the markets because there's so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
So much uncertainty.
Yeah. Probably a good idea to get into Tether. Just sit, see what happens.
Cash is king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just don't know what's going to happen with the macro economy. So if you have a chance with YFI at this point, just take it. Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. None of this is financial advice. Everybody, please do your own research and do not cite us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now, in the era of instant liquidity and not having to use any third-party exchanges, not even the lovely Binance or Binance US or whatever exchange you like to trade on, there is this new thing called swapping and decentralized. Well, it's just swapping from token to token, wrapped tokens. The whole previous craze was on Uniswap or One Inch Exchange.
Right.
Uniswap also, by the way, got funding by Andreessen Horowitz. They got like $11 million or something like that.
Yep.
So when you see stuff like that happen, you know that things are moving in that direction. Plus, Uniswap, I think, outdid the volume of Coinbase already.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want. They want to cut out the VCs. They want to cut out the middlemen, and this is the way it's going to happen. Now, what's a new thing? How that's happening? Let's show them AnySwap, Ty. Let's just show them.
We'll look at CoinGecko for AnySwap right now. So I'll talk a little bit about it. Basically, what AnySwap is doing, and they have been around. They're actually fairly recent with the development of AnySwap.
We'll go to their exchange, to their website.
We'll go to their actual exchange. It's actually a working product. It's very cool, but this is not the Ethereum network. It's the Fusion blockchain, which is great because what AnySwap aims to do is facilitate swaps between. They say it's like between chains, or like they say that they're bringing in interoperability. But what they're really doing.
Click here. I'll show you. So click here and then click down.
Okay.
And then you see they're doing USDT, Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, Litecoin, and coming soon, obviously. But That's the goal. That's the roadmap.
They just added these two. These are very recent, USDT and AE. And this is basically like you're entering the ecosystem to these pegged coins, and you can kind of like get in and out of the AnySwap ecosystem just like you could Uniswap. But the best part about it is it's not the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah.
Which means
you're not subject to gas fees.
Exactly. You're not subject to the ridiculous gas fees, like $150, $100. It's a totally different network. So the idea is that if AnySwap can keep fulfilling the promises that they have to develop this, and this is a great site. I mean, it works. You can use it right now. You could buy AnySwap from Fusion tokens right now. You can swap to USDT or ETH. So the site works. It does have the transactions on the Fusion blockchain. So the Fusion blockchain works. So all these things are already running. It's just a matter of people finding out about it and adding liquidity to the pools. And it's definitely worth a look.
And this is why we tell you guys who watch this show about it, because we want you to get ahead of these trends. Also, AnySwap is already listed on, what is that? Coin...
I think it's on Hotbit right now.
It's on Hotbit. And there's rumors. You guys want to hear the rumors? Should I tell them?
Yeah, tell them.
There's rumors that it's going to get listed on Coinbase pretty soon. So
I think they have connections.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's the other thing. So apparently AnySwap is partnered with Hotbit. That's the reason that they got listed. Hotbit is pushing it. And I think they're pretty well connected in Singapore. Did some research on them. But just imagine Uniswap, but on steroids.
And imagine like Binance said that they were going to have to increase their fees because they were paying so much in gas fees. They are seeing that. I mean, they're just seeing that like exchanges, DEXs, decentralized exchanges are the way to go. You got to get with companies that are in the front end of this. Now, this is a speculative tech investment. It's not sound money like Bitcoin. But if you know how to do things like this, then I feel you are advanced enough to make this decision. But don't take our word for it. Do your own research, because this is obviously not financial advice. Right. But let's talk about the AnySwap charts.
Yeah, we can look at the AnySwap charts.
Perfect.
So here's what happens when you have like an early release of a proper developing company and token, and you don't have your promotion yet. You have these charts that look like this and don't truly resemble much in terms.
Can you pull up the chart? It's still on the AnySwap website.
No, he's on the chart.
Yeah, we're on the chart here.
Okay.
Hold up.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime.
There we go.
I got you.
You got it. Okay.
Cool. All right. So we're just below the 786. I'm using the bottom of this wick here. I don't really think I could use this here, but this is like a scam wick. We don't really use those.
Yeah, that pumped down for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah. So we're just going to use the bottom of this here. This is our range. We're just below 786. You know, anywhere below $1, I feel like is a solid buy. Yeah. Because I'm just very confident in the fact that people are going to get so tired of paying these ridiculous gas fees on Ethereum, and they're going to look for a solution. The only solution that has been offered that I know about so far is AnySwap. So really anywhere, I think, between 92 cents, it looks like here, and $1 is a solid investment. And the other thing is, so Fusion token FSN is also available. That might be a good investment just to have as like a hedge, because you can swap between the tokens. So assuming that, you know, people might want to buy Fusion token just so they can take it to AnySwap to actually swap for the token. But to get into the ecosystem for AnySwap, you have to have AnySwap. And so of course, that's how we can get these other tokens that are pegged to these assets like USDT, Tether, or Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, and Litecoin. And so the idea is to offer interoperability or chain interoperability, which is what I've been talking about forever, in the form of a Uniswap-like protocol, but just with added features, and it's faster, and it's not going to be congested, and you're not going to pay ridiculous gas fees. So can't go wrong.
Yeah, cannot go wrong. Cool. So I think that was it for the coins we have to cover today, right?
Yeah.
We want to talk about. We already had talked about hash rate. Do you want to cover Ethereum really fast?
Oh, we didn't cover Ethereum, did we?
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, but Ethereum. I do have it though. Let's see. Oh, we didn't cover Litecoin either. Oh,
forgot about it. Should we do these? We definitely have. Dude, I got run downstairs.
Okay.
I think you can handle this.
I can handle it.
Coming down.
I got your half the screen covered up. Don't worry.
All right, great. So we're going to look at Ethereum right now. Ethereum is looking like the rest of
The market.
yeah,
Yeah.
not so hot. I think if it breaks below what we're looking at here, this is like 300. I think is going to be our bottom if it turns out to break here, temporarily that is. But I think just because of our Fibonacci levels here and on the broader view here, let's see. Yeah, this is not looking so great. If we don't hold above the 50%, then I think we have to come back down to the 250, which is not great for Ethereum. And again, this level right here at 360 seems to be the big level that we have to break and hold. So it's not looking very good for Ethereum if we don't hold this level. we definitely want to hold this level. So if you want to keep Ethereum up, throw some money at it. I don't know. But it's likely not going to hold. I think it's going to drop down to 250, somewhere around that range.
250.
250.
250.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So
it's kind of like the whole market, right? Like if
Yeah.
it shits the bed, we're fucked. If it like holds, we're gonna stay afloat here.
right now we do have a little bit of support here, actually. This right here, it's a decent level of support, but this is on a previous trend. So if the whole trend retraces and there's nothing else in between here, this is all just like, it's not usable. You'd want to come down to 250 for a reasonable support. But yeah, so that's Ethereum for you. Of course, that hurts all the alts along with it. All the shit coins, as they're called, will drop in value because they're tied to Ethereum and the ecosystem around that. So that'll be unfortunate, but life goes on.
Good buy opportunity at the worst case.
Exactly.
If anyone has any fiat left.
Yeah, and by the way, I can't see any comments over here, so if we do have any, then we can take the questions after this, or like requests.
I think it's just people yelling random things.
Great.
Please upvote lit.
So Litecoin is actually looking similar to Bitcoin. It's highly correlated to Bitcoin. So really, whatever Bitcoin does, Litecoin's going to do, which means that our support or our floor right now is 45, but if we crash through that, we could be looking at maybe 40, I say 40 to 39, somewhere in that range. Possibly, you might be able to find support around 45. But after 45, I think you come down to 40. And then I think that's probably a solid place for it to rest. At least now, there's a whole lot of price data here. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, everything looking kind of bad right now. But the good news is, what is the good news?
What is the good news time? Please give us some good news, please.
What is the good news?
Give me the hopium.
Whew. Well, what's our hopium for today? Let's go back to
The
Bitcoin.
hopium is we're still above 10K.
That's true.
All right,
That's
we did
true.
not fill the CME gap.
The good news
We're
is
staying alive
the
somehow.
good news is, I mean, we're on top of this trend right here. So we could curl back. We're on top of the resistance here as well, resistance turn support, at least for now. So there's a possibility that in this area, we see our ultimate recovery and just keep moving forward. I mean, the RSI is already moving upwards. It kind of looks like the price is either stale or moving downwards. That would be what's called hidden divergence, bullish hidden divergence, if that were the case. Let's look at the daily.
Well, technically, we're not oversold right now, correct?
Not on the daily.
Because of the downs?
Yeah, and then especially not on the daily, because the daily hasn't gone below our level of it's like 30 below the purple zone here. So I think we're probably going to actually drop, and I think we're going to come down to 8.6 or 9.6, somewhere in that region.
Yeah.
And that would give us like a full, like you see here, this RSI here at the bottom is oversold. That's like when this level was really oversold. So we need to get to that area for a proper retrace.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do, then you can expect a recovery. But here's the other thing. If we do come down here and we can't get ourselves back above this trend line, that spells disaster, and that means that we're going to start a new bearish trend below this, which we don't want. We don't want like a thing like this. We don't want a thing like this, right? We want to stay above this line as much as possible, but we'll see what happens.
Oh God, help us all.
So do we have any questions?
Any questions from the
I don't
YouTube?
think so. I think it's just random chatter.
Okay.
People are probably a little depressed today.
It's okay. Long-term fundamentals are there. I feel like if you bought Bitcoin, you understand that it is a movement, and we are part of it. So price go up does not really mean much as long as you see the fundamentals going up, which they definitely are. So keep an eye out for that second stimulus check, guys. Sorry I had to bounce, and I think that's it. It's a pretty short show.
Pretty much it. I don't know how he just ran through all those charts.
Yeah, do you want to talk about FOMO one?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Of course.
Yeah, bring up FOMO.
Yeah, okay. So FOMOhunt.com is our site. We just launched our MVP, so this is the MVP. We are accepting free users. You can, be a premium supporter if you'd like to. The perks of being a premium user right now is that you're going to have access to a lot of the early updates before anybody else. We'll add some other stuff in the future, obviously, but this is an MVP. But if you want to check it out, you can. It's FOMOhunt.com. And we have a lot of really cool updates coming. And so you definitely want to be at least in our email list, which you can just be entered into by signing up anyways. But essentially what we're doing is we're creating a new place to aggregate all these assets with some new indicators, some new things that you can play around with your portfolios. That's just going to make finding gems a lot easier. And we'll when that comes out, you'll see it. But yeah, if you guys have any feedback when you do sign up and you use it, just follow me at Titan Inc. or you can follow FOMO Hunt on Twitter, and we would be happy to receive your feedback and see what we can do to get better.
Yep, definitely a site for traders, definitely a site for people that want to get on the cutting edge of what's happening in terms of the trading aspect of cryptocurrencies. They also have a portfolio tracker that's coming. And so sometimes when you buy coins, you don't necessarily remember what you bought them at, but you can use FOMO Hunt's software to track your portfolio for you among all of the different exchanges and wallets that you probably carry them in. So definitely these things are necessary.
Yep.
Yeah. If you guys have been a DGen in the space for a while, this is a very clean site, and the little nuggets and sneak previews Ty has dropped for me are extremely interesting. So definitely stay up to date on this. We wouldn't put you guys onto something that was a shitty product. So
and it's free right now. So get it for free.
It's free. So what are you doing as we dump? Take advantage.
Yep.
Take advantage.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much what I got for today.
Yeah, we will see you guys next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Everyone is moving to Miami. I just want to let you know.
Literally.
Yep. Exactly.
Everyone's moving to Miami, guys.
Everyone's
We're all going to make it. We're all going to have bull market girlfriends. So don't worry.
What about me? Just kidding.
And boyfriends.
Thank you.
Whatever you want. In the bull market, anything.
Yeah, anything goes.
Awesome. Bye, you guys.